It's a sentiment parents are feeling all across the country. As the pandemic continues, rates of anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation are rising.
One of the long-term effects of this pandemic, long after vaccines are given and we become healthy again, is going to be the mental health impacts. Just because we have a vaccine, just because we're no longer at risk, doesn't mean all of that anxiety, depression, and the other mental health impacts are going to go away. They may even become worse.
Swallowed by monsters. Honey, why don't you run it all?
This is really weird, guys. I would say Amherst is like the perfect small town in New England. We've got like good athletics and like a big enough school to be competitive and well known, but we still have the small town feel. We still have like a good community.
Amherst is pretty chill, like it's pretty tiny. Like I feel like everyone knows everyone.
It's just kind of like, you know, small town, everyone knows everyone. Hard to go out without a mask without getting caught by your mom's friend who emails your mom, that kind of thing.
I feel like Amherst and Mount Vernon are a very close community. Like the parents and students love to get involved in things and like look out for each other.
I thought we were going to go online till April break. Like, we just finished February break, and I thought that was a very reasonable amount of time, like, I don't know, a month and a half or so, for it to kind of pass over. And then my brother didn't get to go back to college, and all the schools started saying, oh, we're going online for the rest of the year. And that's when I realized, like, oh, this isn't just going to go away.
What this means for us at Souhegan is a substantial change. Whether you're indoors or outdoors, you must wear your mask if you are unable to maintain a 6 feet of distance. This includes lunch, when playing on the turf, and walking between the annex and the main building.
I don't think anybody was prepared for a pandemic to sprout out of nowhere. And I'm remembering the beginning of 2020, like it was just, oh, some random virus is in other countries, like it's not here though. And then all of a sudden, like life was just over and we were remote.
And then for me personally, like our lacrosse season was taken away from us, which meant I lost the thing that I'd been looking forward to all year. I'd been working for it and it was supposed to be like a really great season. We had a super strong junior and senior class.
Events being postponed or canceled and young athletes robbed of their chances to shine.
And for the spring athletes, their seasons are really over before they really got started.
Having that taken away felt like just like the fun parts of school were diminished, and then we were just left with like the bare bones of our education, which isn't what education is all about, in my opinion. Like it's more than that. It's about community, and it's about sports, and it's about developing us as people. And so with COVID, we lost a lot of those opportunities.
We all kind of saw it coming the week before school. We were like, oh, we're gonna get the 2 weeks off, just get a vacation. But the teachers had their meetings and they're pushing for us to get ready. We practiced a few times in some of my classes getting ready for the online school. I just think the full capacity, no one would have known how bad it was gonna be.
I didn't expect it to be like a year. Like I didn't expect a year from now, like I still would not have returned to school. Like this is my first time being in the building since taking the PSAT in October. And then before that, it was last March. So like, I definitely expected that by the school year, like I'd be back in person, which I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's been intense because we've never had to deal with that before. Like you have the weight on yourself knowing that if you go out, there's the chance that you could get sick and it could affect you and any of the people you've been around, your family members, your friends.
Every little thing, like going out of the house, has to be overanalyzed to an extent where it's like, you have to analyze every single little aspect that you're doing with your life and make sure that it's very COVID safe.
And that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid, as well as just navigating this whole new like learning online, and like you're having to take your education into your own hands more than in the past, and like learning things on your own, and you really have to reach out and do everything by yourself.
Have you noticed like the increase in mental health issues with students as of recently?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a issue that's been happening across the country, and I'm sure across the world, with students not being able to access the supports and resources that they normally would. Also, it is important for young people to be around their peers as they're growing up, and being secluded has really taken a toll on people's mental health.
So like, I'm usually like a pretty anxious person, but like at the start of COVID, like last March, it definitely like got spiked up because no one really knew what was happening, and like we were all just kind of locked in, not knowing really why. So that was definitely a bigger problem, because it's just like it made like the paranoia worse. And then I definitely say like towards the end of last school year, I was getting really kind of down. Like I'm not usually like a depressive person, but I definitely would say that I was kind of like in kind of a depressive slump. But I think like the summer helped me out, because I was able to like see a few people, and like it kind of felt normal. I worked a little bit and I went to the beach.
I mean, I kind of just didn't do anything. I stopped doing my schoolwork. I stopped socializing. I just like sat in a ball in my bed.
I've had better years. I mean, I didn't have anything like extremely bad happen to me, but at the same time it was just disappointing, because as the seasons pass, I'm so used to having certain things like, oh, summer marks me hanging out with friends more, or in the spring is when I have my soccer season. It's just passing these milestones, but knowing that I'm gonna miss the things and traditions that I'm so used to doing was pretty disheartening. But at the same time, like I still have a lot of stuff going on, and I've still been able to keep busy and find things to do. So that's been nice, but at the same time, it's definitely been very different than in the past and challenging.
So Student Services Department, so that includes all the school counselors, me, Dean of Students, and the school psychologist, Tracy. I would say that our schedules are bursting at the seams at this point. We're really trying to meet the needs of our school population, trying to help kids in whatever way that we can, to feel some sense of normalcy, to know that they have connections and people they can talk to here at school.
I'm definitely a big extrovert. I need to be around people. I get like fueled off of other people's energy. And so it was definitely a big change, but for me, I'm lucky to live in like a nice house with a great family, so it wasn't detrimental to me because I had a healthy, safe place to be. So that was fine. The isolation part was difficult at first, but I was able to like take in other hobbies and things that I didn't normally do. Like I got super into working out and doing yoga and things that would help my mental health when I knew that I had to take those steps, because things were going to be different. So for me personally, it was nice at first when we thought it was going to be just a little bit of time, and I got to kind of do all this stuff. But now, having been a year, it gets kind of hard.
These are kind of like some of the best years of our lives too. Like the last couple years of high school are kind of like those years where you can just vibe it out and relax before you have to go to college and like live in the real world. So I definitely think there's like a loss of that major experience, and people are coping different ways with it. And I think we have to acknowledge that like people are going through these like different cycles of grief.
Like I can't wrap my head around what's gonna happen when COVID is like gone. Can you? Like it's like, okay, COVID's gone. Can I stop wearing a mask now? Like, how are we going to go back to how it was? We're not. There's still going to be online school. They took away snow days. Like, what is life going to be? It's not going to go back. People are like, oh, we'll be back to normal. No, it won't. And that's scary because, like, the thing that keeps you going is like it will be over. But what if it never is? Because it's just going to be different forever.
I think that there are a lot of kids who are reaching out for help. Which is awesome. And I have also heard a lot of students who are trying really hard to say, I'm doing okay, so I'd like to figure out ways to support other students here at Souhegan. So that's also been kind of a groundswell that we've seen happening, is more students saying, I can help other students, how can I be peer support?
Are you like concerned at all about like your peers, about like their mental health right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have been from the very start, and that's kind of the biggest stance that I took on the reopening committee was the mental health aspect, because not everybody is as fortunate as I am to live in a nice home with a nice family, and those things can be super detrimental to kids' mental health, but also isolation, and for those that aren't lucky enough to be able to come into school for whatever reason, and still have to continue remotely, I worry a lot for them.
So I would say, are our school counselors equipped in terms of being able to know and have the skills to do this and to meet the needs of the students? Yes. Do we have enough man-woman power to do it? No.
You couldn't pick out like one person in the school and be like, are you like 100% mentally great right now? They'd all be like, no. So like, I think that they've never had this much of a mental crisis, but also I think a lot of people are scared to reach out about it right now.
So what would you ask to like strengthen the guidance department for this issue? Like, what do you need?
I think we continue to need more people who have mental health backgrounds and have the ability to support the needs of the students.
But I think the biggest thing is just like, look out for everyone and remember that like school and work and stuff doesn't matter if you're not like okay to do them. So you have to make sure that your mental health is your #1 priority. Like we need more support and more like social workers coming in and helping out and stuff like that.